welcome to the Air Tribe Live, the professional woman's ultimate destination for transformation and for growth. This month, we are diving in headfirst into one of the most powerful forces in life: love. February is not just about candy and hearts and roses. It's the perfect time to level up your relationships and unlock the truth about what it takes to build meaningful connections in the love space. So get ready, because for the next 4 weeks, we are entering what I call Love's Bootcamp. And this isn't your average, heart to heart conversation. We're tackling some hard truths. We're learning from past mistakes, and we are embracing the tough lessons that lead to real growth. No more finger pointing. It's time to look in the mirror and own your part of creating the love that you want and rightfully deserve. So back in 2014, I published a book called Catching Hell, Trying to Love a Black Man. And since then, I have taught love bootcamp sessions at churches, women's organizations, and even with a group of men looking to redefine love and connection. So now I'm bringing it to the Air Tribe. So the book again was called Catching Hell, Trying to Love a Black Man. But inside the book, there's a chapter that's called the Coroner's Report. And teaching this exercise has brought me so much joy and so much laughter. Every time I do a boot camp, women and some men tell me about the Coroner's Report. I had a man last year reach out to me after his wife took one of my boot camps, and he was so happy that she had done this report. When she called and said, my husband wants to chat, I was a little worried, but he was so excited because she showed him the Coroner's Report. And it was about some past relationships that she'd gone through. And, because of this exercise, she was able to see some traumas that she was bringing into her marriage from past relationships. So in 2022, I created a journal. There was so much demand for this one section of the book that I pulled it out and created a journal that's called Love's Coroner's Report. And that's what we're going to talk about for the next few weeks inside the Air Tribe Live. So the paperback version is available on Amazon, but I'm going to make the digital copy available to anyone who really wants to dive in with us for the next few weeks. And trust me, this is not your typical journal. Every relationship that I have ever had in the last 16 years, yes, you heard me right, every relationship, no matter how short or how long, if it's a love relationship, I have a Coroner's Report for that relationship, because I always want to learn more about me. And a lot of times we spend time pointing fingers and blaming other people, when in reality, we're the problem. When in reality, we've done some things that have contributed to our own heartbreak. So if you are joining us on social media tonight, I want to encourage you, if you are a female leader, aspiring leader, I want to encourage you to join the Air Tribe. It is a free community where we come together and support each other. We help each other grow in every area of life, in our careers, in our families, in love. And so be sure to click the link if you're not familiar with the Air Tribe. We also have a Facebook group where we keep the party going in between our live events and online courses. So as a member of the tribe, you receive access to our exclusive resources, including the digital journal from tonight's episode. And you'll also connect with other coaches and like-minded professionals. So back to the coroner's report. So let me tell you how it all got started, because it's an interesting story. In 2013, I was writing this book and I had an idea that hit me like lightning. One evening, I was sitting chatting with my dad, and my dad was a mixture of George Jefferson and Archie Bunker, right? Hilarious, brutally honest, and downright unforgettable. That's my dad. And he has no filter. So that's the George Jefferson, Archie Bunker side. He believes what he believes. He does what he does. So my dad asked me, it was shortly after the actor who played George Jefferson, Sherman Hemsley, had died. And my dad said, hey, look on the computer. Do you see anything about George Jefferson? He died, and they didn't say anything about why he died or how he died. And so I pull out my laptop and I start Googling. And what popped up? A site, and I think it's called autopsyfiles.org or celebrity autopsies. But basically, it's a place to read celebrity autopsy reports. And so as I scrolled through this man's report, I thought, this is fascinating. But then something clicked. What if there were autopsy reports for relationships? A way to uncover the truths, the lessons, and the reasons things fall apart. What if there was a report that you could enter in some information and find out exactly what killed your relationship? So I go back to the site for some inspiration and decided to create this groundbreaking, I call it groundbreaking, report that's called Love's Coroner's Report, where you get to be the coroner and you get to discover what killed your relationship. So a little morbid, but stick with me. So tonight, we're going to dive in, and I just want to kind of walk you through some of the journal prompts to kind of talk through relationships and love and see if you can start to see some of the things that may be killing your relationships. So let me ask you, what do you think killed your last relationship? What about the one before that? What about the one before that, right? So just like a coroner's report reveals the cause of death, relationships require the same deep dive so that you can truly understand what went wrong. It's time to go beyond the surface, because we're good at the surface. We know that last thing that happened. And sometimes it's a big thing, but that's not the real cause of how the relationship died. That's not the real cause. So sometimes you've got to dig deeper and uncover the truth. And that means you get stronger. That means you know yourself even better. So let's look beneath the surface. So the first thing we do is, anytime there's a loss, a coroner examines both the external injuries and the internal causes, right? And relationships are no different. What's beneath the surface? What patterns, what behaviors, or what unresolved issues brought this to an end? What unresolved issues or love illnesses, if you will, did he bring to the relationship? The other side of the coin is what unresolved issues or love illnesses did you bring into the relationship? You're going to go back and look in past relationships. Did I exhibit this same behavior in past relationships? You're going to look at what the other men in my life, have they had some of these issues? Are some of these issues family issues? Is this some family traumas, how I was taught about relationships? Now, when you think about what went wrong in the relationship, what was your contribution? Now, you may be thinking nothing. It wasn't me, it was all him. But I beg to differ. That's not true. You contributed in some way to the demise of this relationship. Sometimes it's a good thing. It doesn't always mean that when a relationship ended that somebody did something, but you do need to know what you contributed to the demise of the relationship. The next section is called evidence of injury. Okay. And this details the physical and emotional evidence of those past relationships. So things that went wrong, what really happened there. So you're going to describe maybe 2 or 3 incidents that happened that first told you that the relationship wasn't going to work. Women, we are very intuitive. So, there is always something that kind of gave us the little, this might not be a good idea, or this looks like it's going in a different direction. And it's not, we think big things like cheating and, we think those kinds of betrayals, but sometimes that's not it. Sometimes it's the little small things that give us, clues into this might not work out long term. Okay. If you look close enough, you will always see evidence of an injury, something that happened in the relationship that were cues and clues that this is not really working, or this is causing me to be different. I'm showing up differently in the relationship. And, in my own life, I knew a relationship was taking a turn and getting to be something that wasn't going to work out when I wasn't comfortable sharing certain things with him. When things that would happen to me that were good and happy, made me happy at work or happy in my business, or I bought something new and I wasn't able to share that with him. That's a flag for me, right? That's an evidence of a very small injury that can get bigger over time. So what were the real clues that you remember if you look back that says this might not work out, right? So you're going to answer questions. And one of the questions is, what did you do? How did you feel? How did you respond when you felt hurt? When he said something or some situation that you encountered, hurt your feelings. How did you respond? Did you respond in anger? Did it turn into a big deal? Did you bring it to his attention? Or did you just kind of sweep it under the rug and keep it to yourself, tell a friend, a girlfriend? How did you respond? These little things and sometimes big things that happen that hurt your feelings, you need to know how you responded and why did I respond that way? If you didn't say anything and you kind of let it slide, why? Did you not want the confrontation, the argument? Okay. So we're looking at the clues to the little small breadcrumbs that were spread along the relationship that kind of told you this might not work out. Okay. The next section is what we call forensic details. And these are the details that, determine the cause of death and the manner of death of the relationship. It's actually the reason for the demise, the reason for the breakup. And there are three reasons for the death of a relationship. There is natural causes, suicide, and homicide. Okay? And you're going to ask yourself a series of questions to really understand the cause of death. Why did this really end? And one of the questions is, did I really enjoy spending time with this person? Did he appear to enjoy spending time with me? Did we talk and enjoy our conversations together? Or was it like pulling teeth? And sometimes it starts out great. We're full of chatter. We're talking about everything. And then somewhere along the line, our talking kind of slows down. We don't really enjoy it. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. Okay? Another question you're going to ask is, was the end of the relationship caused by an incident? An incident, one that I caused myself, or something that I initially agreed to, but later changed my mind. And this could look like starting off a relationship where you both agree that I don't want anything serious. I just want to be friends with benefits, right? Or you may say, you know, I just want us to hang out, get close. I don't want to tie myself down. And that's how you start the relationship. But somewhere it took a turn and either you or him started to want a real relationship. And, you know, that's what happens in a lot of relationships. You get into a relationship with somebody that you find attractive for whatever reason, and you both lay down the rules, and then somebody, what they say, catches feelings and wants something more. And that's okay. You just got to know. So that's one of the questions. Another question is, was the end of the relationship caused by an incident that was intentional? So meaning, did he or I intentionally hurt the other person? And, you know, everybody wants to say, no, I never meant to hurt you. But here's the deal. If you're in a committed relationship and you cheat, that was intentional. If you are in a committed relationship and you do something that you know hurts the other person, that's intentional. And you may not want to see it that way, but the fact that someone says this is a boundary in a relationship, and if you cross that boundary, that's really intentional. And so these three questions are going to help you determine what really caused the demise of your relationship. Again, was it suicide? Was it a homicide? Was it natural causes? So natural causes, and I want to really talk a little bit about what that means. So natural causes is when a relationship has just run its course. Nobody did anything, you know, there's no hurt or anything. We either grew apart or our time together was complete. And I've had a few of those relationships where we're just kind of on the hamster wheel, no place to go. We enjoy each other probably better as friends, and the relationship ends. That's a relationship that dies of natural causes. Okay. Should be no pain there, you know, still get to mourn it because it's still a relationship, but natural causes. The other one is that a suicide? And suicide is you killing yourself. So that's that, you know, I signed up for it one way and then changed my mind. Or I signed up for a relationship thinking I could change him or he would change his mind. You know, that's suicide. That's you coming into a relationship under false pretenses. So that could be, you know, he says that he does not want a relationship at all. He don't want anything serious. And you think, oh, if he just gets to know me, I'm going to be so wonderful that he's going to change his mind and he's going to want me. That's how we label it as suicide. Okay. The other one, again, is homicide. Homicide is somebody did something that was intentional. You did something, you broke one of the boundaries of a relationship, and that's what we call homicide. Okay. The next phase is where you discover your findings. You go deep and you learn about you. You're going to, in every relationship, ask yourself, what did this relationship teach me about me? Because we get mad at people that we break up with, they move on and go into new relationships. We see them on social media, or we see somebody tells us they saw that person on a date, and we get all upset. In reality, the time that a relationship ends is a time for you to self-reflect. What did I learn? Because somebody offered you an opportunity to explore life with them. There's nothing wrong. I don't regret a single relationship that I have ever had, because every one of those relationships taught me to be a better me. Were some of them hard? Oh, hell yes. Some of them were brutal, and some of them were earth shattering. I mean, I have had breakups where I am rocking Miss Seeley, but at the end of the day, I still learned so much about me, what I want, what I deserve, and what it takes for me to be happy. Okay. So you're also going to look at what you don't want in the next relationship. Like, what I don't want, there's some stuff I just ain't doing. And you're going to be clear about what you don't want in the next relationship. You'll also get clear about what you do want in your next relationship. You're going to commit to some things. You're going to make commitments to yourself and clearly define what things you need to work on so that you can be the best version of yourself. A lot of times we end relationships and we take the pain of that relationship into the next one. So poor new guy is over here doing his thing and not realizing that he's also in a relationship with you, with Ricky, Bob, Mike, and all the new addition, right? And he don't have a clue what's ticking you off or what's got you so triggered all the time. And you don't know either. You're in your head replaying things that Bobby, Ricky, and Mike did. And the poor new guy is over here trying to figure out how to love you. So you're going to define some things about yourself and you're going to look at it. And when things get weird, you're going to go back to this coroner's report and look again. Okay. The final step is your opinion. And this is where you take your personal girl hat off, you put on the white lab coat, and you become the coroner. And you write down everything that you can think of about that you've discovered about this relationship, your deepest feelings. You're going to write what you're really afraid of, because a lot of times in our relationships, there's fear. The opposite of love is fear. And so a lot of times we can't give our whole self in a relationship because we're afraid of being hurt. For me personally, I spent a lot of years in relationships really afraid of being embarrassed. I had a relationship where a guy cheated on me and everybody knew it. And I did too. I just pretended I didn't. But everybody knew that this was going on. And when it ended bad and big. And, I was mortified. And so I spent a lot of years in relationships trying not to be embarrassed and hurt anymore. And that doesn't serve, poor guy. The guy I dated at that time, he had a hard road to toe. Right? He had a hard road to toe because everything was about me not being embarrassed. And how I showed up was, I'm only going to give you so much because you will never embarrass me. I will never be that ashamed again. So you're going to dig deep in there. And you're going to also, my favorite question is, what have I done to dishonor myself in relationships? what have I done? Forget what he did. He did some stuff, or maybe he didn't do some stuff. But, we usually point the finger outward, and those other three fingers are pointing back. What did I do to dishonor myself? Right. When we talk about the embarrassing guy, the guy who embarrassed me, I dishonored myself because I knew. It wasn't like I didn't know. I just pretended not to know. I pretended that things were okay. Or I start looking for stuff, right? I start to, I need proof that it's happening. And so that's a dishonor to myself. And this is not to say that, as you're working on yourself, that you need to go break up with people. So let me say this. I'm sorry, I did not give my PSA, my public service announcement. If you are right now today a woman who is in a committed, loving relationship, this is not giving you permission to start digging into that man. Okay? If you are in a good relationship, keep it going. Have wonderful fun. This is really designed to look at past relationships, especially if you've just had a breakup. But this is not, if you're married and you're working it out and happy, that's not this. I don't want no husbands calling me talking about you ruined my marriage. So, this is really about discovering yourself and what things, why didn't they work? And not about the other person. Again, if you are in a happy, healthy relationship, bless you. I'm trying to get there, girl. But this is really about looking deep at yourself so that you don't hurt that person. I taught this 2 years ago in a church, and that's the woman whose husband called me. She was in the class and looking at her past, right? She's like, and I gave the PSA, ain't trying to break up your marriage, but this helps you see you more clearly. So you're also going to ask yourself, what did I pretend not to see? What did I pretend not to notice? And the big question is, what truth am I not telling men about myself? Okay. And that's a hard question, but it's a good one because I think as women, we all have something that we're hiding. We're trying to be, when we meet a guy and we start trying to have a relationship, we start trying to fit into what we think they want, I've had relationships where a guy said to me that women were always after him for his stuff, his money, his house, his cars, his things. And I was on a mission to prove to him that I was not like that. And I ended up hurting myself. There were some things I didn't get in the relationship that I need because I was trying not to be like what he had before. So what truth am I not telling myself? And I'll tell you my truth. The truth I did not tell people or men is I'm a lot. I am. I'm a lot. I got opinions and thoughts, and I am, a creator. So there's always something going on in here. And it's a lot. I am expensive and I'm not cheap about how I treat me. I ain't cheap about how I treat my friends or a man. But I wasn't always honest with that part of myself. And it doesn't change. It's coming out eventually. And I am a lot. I am brilliant. And sometimes it can be a lot. I'm very expensive. I like nice things. I like to go places. I will spend it all on an experience. And for some men, that don't work so well. Knowing what truth you're not telling. And this isn't to say when you meet somebody, you lay it all out, right? This is for you to know about yourself. Okay. The next question is, what inappropriate behavior have I accepted from men in the past? Okay. And this isn't always just about the last guy that you dated. Sometimes this is about your dad. Sometimes this is about your brother. right? This is not, and it's not the fight, right? This is not, nobody's ever gonna do, not about that. It's internal. But you have to know that I have accepted some inappropriate behavior, right? I've accepted allowing people to mistreat me in certain ways, right? The flip side, because there's always the flip side, is what inappropriate behavior have I shown to men in the past? Okay. How have I shown up in inappropriate ways, in ways that are not the best version of myself? When you talk about the book, the five love languages, which I love, my love language is words of affirmation. I'm a words person. I see words everywhere. But the flip side to that, I can be inappropriate with my words. Get me mad enough, you gonna get some words. Now I'll be praying and repenting for it later. I on the side of being an affirmer and an encourager, I can be all of that, but I can be just as powerful in the other direction. Right? And I've had to learn that about myself. And I've had to say, I'm never going to do that again. I am never going to cuss somebody out. I am, especially somebody that I think I love or I'm trying to love. So, knowing who you are and knowing how to change that, it's a decision you make. And a lot of women say, well, that's just how I am. No, it shouldn't be. Right? Because it's costing you something. And I had to be honest with myself and say the highest version of myself ain't out here cussing folks out. It's just not. Right? That's not the highest version of me. That's not, when God created Andrea, he did not create me to be out here cussing out folks and using my words recklessly. Okay? So what inappropriate behavior have you shown to men in the past? And what will I refuse to accept going forward? And you got to be clear about what you will not accept. And if this happens, and this is not for you to, give him a whole laundry list of things he can or cannot do. This is for you. What won't I deal with? There's some things I just can't do. I am 59 years old. Yes, I am. And I cannot have a man in my life at 59 who has no self-control and he's led by his flesh. I can't, because you can't take care of me if your flesh is leading you and you have no self-control. And I learned that through these coroner's reports. So, what I want you to do is I want you to take some time this week, and I want you to complete a coroner's report on any relationship. You're going to think about it. So if it's something that, it's a person that it hurts you to think about, take some time and wait till you can get there. But take a relationship. I've done every relationship I've ever had. I had one about 2 years ago. I don't know if you call it a relationship, but it lasted for about a month. And because I know me and because I know some things that don't work for me, I was able to, bid him adieu respectfully and graciously without hurting him. So what I want you to do is grab the coroner's report, the digital copy inside the tribe. I'll also put it in the Facebook group. And I want you to do a coroner's report. Next week, if you are brave enough, I want to invite you on camera and invite you to share your story. If not, I understand, right? We can share a coroner's report, giving a pseudo name. I'm happy to do that. But if you're brave enough to share with another woman who might be enduring what you've endured, because that's what the tribe is all about. We lift each other up and we encourage each other and we help push each other forward. So I really would like to go through a few of them so every woman can see that she's not alone. Because sometimes when you go through a breakup, you feel like an idiot. You feel like something's wrong with you, and people don't always help. I've gone to many barbecues where people say, why you ain't got no husband? Or when you gonna get married again? And I got a standard answer. And I'll tell you my standard answer. My standard answer for every auntie, every family friend that says, when you gonna get married again? Or, where's your man at? That kind of thing. My standard answer is, when I find a man who can stand to be as happy as I'm gonna make him. That's my answer. And it shuts everything down. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. The man who can stand to be as happy as I'm going to make him. I ain't found him yet. Yeah. So let me say this. There's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing. Because I know sometimes we feel like it must be me, and it's not, right? It's just life. And when people invite you into this space that we call love, they're coming with stuff, right? They got their own baggage, they got their own hurts and pains, their own family stuff, and you do too. So, I heard a therapist say, love is two grown children aiming their childhoods at each other. And it's true, because depending on how you grew up, love looks different for some people. Okay. So the one truth that I want to leave you with is, you don't get to tell somebody how to love you. You can't dictate how somebody loves you. You can't force them to love you the way that you want. What you do get to do is you get to observe how they choose to love, how they show love, how they express love. You get to see the kind of love that he is capable of offering, not what you think he's capable of, but what he's showing you that he's capable of. And then you get to decide if this is the kind of love I'm willing to accept. Okay? My job for the next 4 weeks is to help you understand yourself, so that when the right offer of love comes your way, you are ready to receive it. That's it. That's all we're doing here. So again, here's my pitch for the Air Tribe. If you are a female leader, aspiring leader, female business owner, we'd love to have you inside the Air Tribe. The Air Tribe is a free community where we have everything that today's professional woman will need. We are fearlessly ambitious. We're pulling each other, pushing each other, shoving each other, cheering each other, so that we all reach the top together, so that we are all becoming the best version of ourselves. We're becoming leaders who take our proper place in the world. We'd love to have you inside the tribe. So next week, I would love to have maybe 3-4 people come on and let's just talk about it. Talking about what we learned and how you felt, So this is really about being the best version of yourself. I talk about that a lot, because at the end of the day, it's not about being a real housewife of wherever you live. We're not turning over tables and cussing out our friends. That's not who we are. That's not the best version of you. That could be somebody's best version, but I don't think it's ours. I know it's not mine. So that's what we're after, making sure that in everything we do, we have everything we need to become the best version of ourselves. I'm still becoming, and you are too. So that, my friends, is it for tonight. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I can't wait to talk next week. Inside the Facebook group, we're going to be talking all week long about relationships. I'm going to share some things that I've seen on social media, ask you what you think about it. It's a lot of fun stuff that we can talk about in relationships. And we spent a lot of last year talking about work and talking about leadership, which I love. But one of the challenges I think that a lot of professional women have is this love thing. It's a weird thing, and we don't always get it right. But I think when you know yourself better, and you know what the best version of yourself looks and feels like, That is when you are able to come to a love table with the best. You are able to give him the best of you, and you're also able to receive the best of him. So, thank you, ladies, and I will see you next week. Go be great. Peace.